Well, hello. Hang on, let me get to my, Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing, guys? We are back with the Haggis Cup. I'm muted right now. We are in the Discord. We've got the players here. We're just having a little bit of a conversation about something, but we should be good in a second. Just starting the stream because I know there is a couple of people here. So, I'll just be one moment. Okay, well, we are now unmuted because we've just had a little bit of a conversation about some of the tournament stuff. But everybody say hello. We've got Gremo Gang here, which is Fota and Incense.
Hello.
And against them we have Amish and Phosphor. So if you guys want to say anything, you're welcome to.
Fewer words are better.
Okay. So continuing from the last live stream, obviously you guys had a really tense battle. It was a pretty close one. We weren't sure who was gonna win it for most of the battle. Both sides played really well. It was a very enjoyable thing to watch, but we actually had your second battle in the best of three played off screen. So in that battle, as the thumbnail kind of gave, the winner was actually Gremo Gang, making it 1-1. And now we're going to be watching the decider. So I'm trying to set up everything. I've got to live stream my phone because I don't have a second monitor. But yeah, so what we're going to be doing is there's been a slight change to the rules. So originally both sides would only be able to play as one faction from their earlier battles, which was Sweden, Austria, Russia, Bavaria, and Saxony. However, due to a little bit of a change in the rules, instead what we're going to be doing is Gremo Gang get to choose the map and their faction and no factions are banned, which seems to have gone well with both teams. Anyway, so Gremo Gang, do you guys have a map in mind?
Yeah, we're planning on playing Poland for a.
Poland 4A. Okay, that is a classic. Okay, I'm just checking my stream to make sure you can hear me. All right, well, I'm ready to join the game. Remember to set it for spectators, and then I'll skedaddle and disappear for a moment.
Yes.
By the way, do we want it from our perspective or Jakal's perspective?
I really don't mind. It's up to you guys. It shouldn't really matter too much for me, and it's 1-all.
Right. Because is it the host that is?
Yeah. So whoever hosts the battle is the person who I will be spectating from.
All right.
Just whoever really has the best connection.
Because I don't really know if I can host right now, and I don't know about Taka either, or Fotan, I mean, sorry.
Alright. Well, if one of you guys from TFG want to host, then that'd be good. So the map should just be Poland 4A.
I just thought that since they picked the map, they also picked their side, so they should be hosting in that case.
Yeah. Was your guys' side Alliance 1 or Alliance 2?
We chose Alliance 1, Igor.
Yeah, 1.
Yeah, okay. Well, you guys can just host and then swap to the other side.
All right.
Should fix it. Sorry guys, in the stream this might be a little bit boring while we're getting in. It's always a little bit boring sitting in silence, waiting for the lobby to get in. Is the password just the same as before?
Yep, 132.
You've got 30.
Oh wait, I need to enable spectators. Sorry, wait.
Classic mistake. Classic mistake. Try to make sure I don't see the battle.
Right. No, this should be right. Everything should be right.
Okay, cool. Okay, man. Nice. Okay, well, best of luck to you guys. I'm gonna disappear to my little VC, and I will return when the battle, well, when we get into the battle, and we're looking at the deployment zones. Alright, well, best of luck to both teams.
Yep.
Yep.
Sides.
Okay. So that little sound means that I am now all by myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully I can be a little bit more energetic now. We're all alone in a private VC. And we're going to be watching this battle, of course. We're on this left side, the map chosen by Gremo Gang playing as Alliance 1, the defensive side. Although, admittedly, this map is a little bit more, well, it would seem defender-orientated. It's actually... I'm seeing everybody leaving, let me just check. It is defender-orientated, however, despite that, it is still a relatively flat map. Okay, something weird's going on with VCs. Let me just make sure they're all right. Oh, never mind, they're back. Okay, great, they're back. I was a little bit worried there. Yeah, okay, we should be fine. If there is any audio problems, any mic problems, is the music too loud, you know, anything, let me know. Please let me know. I'd prefer to fix it now. I'm seeing a couple of people in the chat there. Edinburgh Baker, good to see you again. Lucas Venev, I don't think I've seen you before, but welcome to the stream. And Riley Cullah, I've seen you a couple of times. You did fan art me once, which was very cool. I still got that saved somewhere. But hello. There's 9 people in the chat right now. Hello to all of you. I'm wondering if the chat's going to be as active as it was last time. We had TFJ. So many members from TFJ joined the stream and spammed the living daylights out of it. There was so many people spamming TFJ, but Gremo Gang had the support too. There was a couple of people shouting Gremo Gang, which was very good for them. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think TFJ might be choosing, they might be checking the map right now. So it looks like Gremo Gang are deciding to play as the Coalition side, and they're going to be going up against TFJ, who will be playing as Imperial. So, kind of to make it a little bit clearer on the rules, so from the beginning the rules have been that in the semi-finals, whatever factions you choose to play in the semi-finals will be banned for the finals. But I think a little line was missed by TFJ when they were reading it, where so it was an added thing that for the decider, you can only play as one of the factions you played in the 2 previous semi-finals battles to get to that decider. So for example, in this semi-finals, Gremo Gang played as Sweden and Austria in the streamed semi-finals match, and they went against TFJ, who played as Bavaria. And then in the fight that was off screen, which has been recorded, that just needs to get uploaded at some point soon now. In that battle, Gremo Gang here played as Coalition for a second time, and they played as Double Russia. But TFJ played as Saxony in that one, and TFJ came out on top. So that means that essentially TFJ would have been locked to being able to play as Saxony or Bavaria for this battle, and Gremo Gang would be forced to play as Russia, Saxony, or Austria. And so it's essentially TFJ said they hadn't seen that in the rules, and because of that they weren't really ready for it. And so to keep it entertaining, because yes, this is a tournament, but this is also for content, it's for fun is the main thing as well. This isn't something that, you know, we really care about. There isn't really a prize as well. And so because it's something that's done more for the joy, for the fun of the game, I decided we'll make a little bit of a deal then. And so instead of flipping a coin for this battle to decide who chooses the map, and to decide who gets the map, and the other team would get to choose what faction they wanted to play as. Instead, I said, because it was in the rules, and it was supposed to be adhered to in the rules, but for the sake of fun, what we'll do is Gremo Gang can choose the map and the factions, but TFJ will be able to play as any faction they want on the opposite side. And that seemed to be something that both TFJ agreed to, and also Gremo Gang agreed to, because Gremo Gang just wanted to do what the rules said originally. They contacted me ahead of time about it and said, well, you know, just checking this as the rules. Anyway, now that we've got that cleared up, we should be okay. Check here. We're getting a little bit of a host error where it's not actually letting one of the players join the lobby, so we're going to have to rejoin this one. Probably a good thing, because it would have maybe crashed. So if you remember in the stream, actually, Saxony and Russia were fighting. So Gremo Gang were playing as Russia, and we had a Saxony being played by TFJ up against them, which was it seemed like it was going to be a very interesting battle. It looked like TFJ were kind of coming out on top at the start of that one. However, the game crashed, and so to keep it fair, everybody had to play the same factions in the rematch. I saw the replay of the rematch. It was a very close battle. The big problem for TFJ was they kept making, they were very consistent in their gameplay. Obviously, I've not been able to release the replay yet, so they weren't able to kind of see what my main thoughts on their deployments were. But they did the Grenadier plan again. They brought the army of Grenadiers. I really like it. I really like it as a strategy because it seems like a very interesting strategy that not a lot of people have tried before, and it has a lot of potential. But again, as they did in the first battle, which admittedly they won the first battle, but in the first battle they didn't really charge, which is the point of a Grenadier. And so in the second battle they kind of did the same. But because they had chosen the Grenadiers before and they did it again and the game crashed, Gremo Gang very quickly picked up, okay, these guys are just going to bring Grenadiers again. And they did. And so Gremo Gang chose to play as Russia. And, well, I mean, it's kind of a fact in Napoleon Total War that Russia are one of the best melee factions because they have 300 man units, so about 90 more than the Bavarian Saxon Grenadiers. They also have, because they have 300 men, they have really bad shooting skills, but they have the ability to stay in a gunfight for a very long time and pick you apart while having lots of reserves because their infantry is very cheap, because the point of a Russia is manpower spam. And so when TFJ went up against them, they waited really towards the end of the battle to charge, which meant a lot of their units were very weak. And then when they did their charge was very successful. It was a very successful charge. It was well planned, they had reserves, they had cavalry, but they had run out of steam and their units were too weak really from the gunfight beforehand, which was the entire battle, was the gunfight. They were too weak from that point to actually continue, and their units kind of just broke after getting a little bit of a break in the enemy. Okay, and there we go. We have both players in now, fortunately. So, my question today is going to be, will TFJ, for the third time in a row, bring a Grenadier... Actually, sorry, fourth time in a row, bring an all-Grenadier army? We'll have to see. Because I feel like at this point, Gremo Gang have got to be expecting it. I mean, they've done it once. That was interesting. That caught them off guard. It caught me off guard. It caught Tom off guard. They did it a second time. That kind of surprised us. Then the game had crashed. And then they did it a third time off camera in the second battle of the semis. They lost that one because it was predicted they would bring that army. They got counterpicked essentially. And then that brings us to today. So we're going to see, will TFJ bring a Grenadier-only army for a fourth time in a row? Or will they bring a more normal army? Or maybe they've done another tactic that we've not seen before. Maybe they've gone for all light infantry. Maybe they've gone for one player brings elites and artillery and cavalry, the other player brings only infantry. Who knows? So, faction-wise, so the reason everybody is on Prussia right now, other than Fortan here, is so Amsh and Phosphor, because they just joined. When you join, the starting faction for you is just Prussia. It sets you as Prussia, and then it gives you, when you click it, a list of other factions. And so we're just waiting on them to choose what faction they want to play as. Obviously, because Fortan here has already chosen Russia, they have locked in the fact, okay, we're playing Coalition, you guys can play Imperial, which means that for all three battles of the semi-final so far, it is going to be Gremo Gang, Coalition, TFJ, Imperial. Which is going to be good to see because it kind of feels like both teams have very clearly shown this is the side we're comfortable with. We are very comfortable with Coalition, their manpower mainly as the Coalition, the artillery, the cavalry. We're comfortable with the playstyle of them. We're comfortable with the factions. I mean, that's going to be shown here by Fortan playing as a Russia, and it shows that TFJ here very much aligned with the melee focus, the quick, strikes of the Imperial side. I can only imagine that right now in their VC, oh my god, I can only imagine in their VC right now, TFJ will be speaking to each other, trying to think of what faction they can play as this time. What will they do? Because right now we are seeing a First French Republic being played by Phosphor here. First French Republic, really good pick. Oh my, we've got a double First French Republic versus a Britain and a Russia. That's going to be very interesting. First French Republic, very okay artillery. Their artillery is nothing to write home about. They're good, but they're not amazing. Their cavalry, pretty solid, but their infantry is a whole bag. It's a kettle of fish, really. You've got Consular Guard, the prelude to the Old Guard, very solid. They've got Consular Guard Skirmisher Unit too. They've got some pretty decent light infantry, but the main thing as First French Republic is they have the Demi Brigades, which is a 300-man infantry unit with just basic infantry stats. It's like Russia on crack. The only difference is Russia can bring more men because their men are cheaper, their men have worse stats, and so they will eventually outman a First French Republic. But the thing is, First French Republic, 300 men with good shooting stats? That's crazy. Yes, they might be outnumbered a little bit, but their lines are going to fight forever. So, the question to me is going to be, are they going to go a normal First French Republic? Are they going to bring a little bit of artillery, a little bit of heavy cav, a couple of dragoons, some light cav? Are they going to bring, 2 elites, 4 grenadiers, and then the rest is line infantry? Or are they going to go with the classic Kings of Pegal strategy of, let's get our elites, let's get our heavy cav, let's get a lot of artillery, and then spam the Sansculotte. The Sansculotte, the war crime, literally translates to pantless divisions. They have no trousers on. That's in the game they do. But the joke was that they didn't have trousers. They are like a meddling militia of France. They were war criminals during Napoleon's invasion of Italy in the 1700s. But the common strategy we've seen so far with the First French Republic is spamming the fuck out of your militia, getting a couple of elites to stand behind them, because they can bring a lot of manpower. Yeah, Demi Brigades definitely do trash Russian musketeers. That's just because Russian musketeers are so strong because there's 300 men. That is what gives them the strength. That's the point of a Russia, really. But if you face 300 men who are badly trained against 300 men that are highly trained, and I mean highly trained as in line infantry, they're just a standard line infantry with more men. By having those 300 men, they will destroy Russian musketeers. That is a certainty. The only problem is, because they are well trained and because they are line infantry and they have 300 men, they're quite expensive. They're not cheap. And so they will eventually be outmanned by the Russians, as Russia always does, because Russia will spam line infantry. Not only will they outline the French, they will have more men, they will just, in total, they will have more men. Their grenadiers, also Russian grenadiers, are better. And the other problem is, 300 men sounds really good, and it is. But the one thing with Russia is that Russia has something very good for killing lots of men, and that is the Russian Unicorn. The Howitzer of Doom, the £20 howitzer and £10 howitzer, although they aren't even howitzers, they're classed as unicorns because they are fucking crazy. One shot will kill half the unit if it lands well. Such an overpowered unit. So we'll see if maybe they do end up spending all the money on those unicorns, because if they do, they might actually match the French manpower, because they'll use all that extra money from their cheaper infantry to buy better artillery. Now, the faction I've not even spoken about yet is Britain. Now, Britain, we've actually already seen in the tournament a Britain versus the First French Republic in the Kings of Pegal Britannique battle. one of the closest battles I've ever seen in my life. Such a close battle. Britain here, 260-man units. So again, quite large units. And the reason that Britain have that is because Britain isn't really meant to have a reserve. They're supposed to have their elites in the back line, maybe 1 or 2 units behind that. The front line of the British is kind of supposed to be most of their army. 260 men will win every gunfight and almost every single melee as well. And so when you mix in the fact that they are really damn good at shooting, because they are, as Britain, I mean, come on, obviously they will be. They're going to win every gunfight, probably going to win every melee unless they're going against grenadiers or elites. But it's the manpower that's the problem. Britain cannot afford to lose unnecessary manpower. If Britain lose even 2 or 3 units, that's going to start spelling the end for Britain. Attrition is the enemy of a Britain. Okay, so we're seeing some Gremo gang chants now. Very nice. Yeah, let's go Gremo gang. Yeah. See gamer. Yeah, no. It can route a single unit from a shot. It's so crazy. It is such a damaging artillery piece. And we're gonna have to see, does TFJ have the capability to be able to stop that? Because that, whenever you're playing against a Russia, your number one thought is always going to be, how do I kill the unicorns? What is the plan in place to kill the unicorns? Oh wow, a whole bunch of people coming out for Gremo gang now. It's actually the complete opposite of what we had last time. Last time we had millions of, we had like almost 40 viewers, all of them spamming TFJ, but now we're getting even more Gremo gang fans. We've got people cheering Gremo gang, sacrifice your life for Gremo gang. Please don't put a fiver in someone's game crashing. Oh, Aswood is here. I was just talking about your Britannia battle because we have a Britain and France versus First French Republic, and I was just talking about a Britain versus First French Republic kind of showdown where Britain will thrash these guys, but it all matters on the manpower. We still get even more Gremo stuff. Oh, even here. Someone's doubling the bet. Gambling in my chat, hell yeah. It's called Epstein. Oh, I'm so is TFJ still here? Because I've got to say, TFJ, if you are here, you're being a little bit quiet. It looks like you're getting outdone by the Gremo gang spam. Yeah, Russia versus First French Republic will be pretty tough. It is very similar strategies. A lot of it will revolve around manpower. So it's gonna, the winning strategies for this is gonna be, can whoever's fighting Russia just match them? Essentially, can they just line up and face them and not lose to the artillery duel? Because the Russian unicorns will destroy this guy. But if they're able to get rid of the Russian unicorns and match them, they can probably win that. If Russia can hold them in place, destroy them with the artillery, pick apart a little area, and then blast through with some grenadiers and elites, we might see the end of the First French Republic, depending on what strategy they've gone for here. I've got to say, choosing militia spam would be bad if that did happen, because militia spam, notoriously not a great option when you're going against the shock artillery of the Russians. They do actually, yeah, you're right, the French have a cohesion advantage against the Russians. The Russians do have a little bit of a higher cohesion compared to most factions, because they revolve around walking forwards and losing manpower, and the faction would factually just not work if they didn't. Okay, we're seeing, so we're watching from the coalition perspective. This is a great Britain. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. Traditionally with a Britain, it's kind of well known that the British cavalry sucks. Obviously, if you're playing Britain to see the infantry. So we have Wellington, we also have 2 light dragoons and a hussar. These guys can actually fire from horseback, funnily enough. Then we have a £9 spherical case. That's more what I'm talking about. Nobody really uses these spherical cases other than me. I tested them out a couple of days ago in a battle. These spherical case are ridiculous. It's a spherical case, if you don't know, is named after, I believe his name is Henry Shrapnel, and he invented the shrapnel artillery, more famously used in the American Civil War, where it was highly improved. But the spherical case is the only cannon in the game for any faction that has shrapnel shot, so it'll blow up in the air and spray forwards. Essentially, they're like a round shot howitzer, because if they blow up in the middle of a unit, it's kind of like a howitzer blowing up in the middle of a unit, except it also sprays shrapnel, so they're really strong. Britain has more men than you normally would have. Normally with Britain you'd have more than one artillery, and you'd probably have some heavy cap too. Is that somebody joining, I heard?
Yeah, it's just me.
Hey, Chris. Oh, you watch this stream?
Yeah. I'm
Alright,
just.
nice, yeah.
But I'm
I was just saying about
pretty
the
interesting
British.
setup.
The British.
The spherical trick shot.
Yeah, spherical case. I love spherical case. It is highly ignored because it is super 50-50 whether or not it does absolutely nothing or get like 1,000 kills. Obviously the British, I really like the British strategy of, okay, our artillery is good, but we've got Russia who is unicorns, and our cavalry sucks balls, so let's just not bring any. Kind of going with like the America path of, let's just not bring cav. And also bringing 3 elites. They've got the Toros, they've got the Scots Guard, and they've got the Lilywhites, of course, Scots Guard. Amazing Scottish unit, one of the best melee units in the game. And Russia, as expected, there's the 2 20-pound unicorns, the
Of course.
evil, dream-destroying artillery.
Apparently very easy to snipe with natives.
Oh yeah, no. Famously, last time there was a Britain in Russia, 20-pound unicorns got killed by native skirmishers. That's what Chris did here. If you don't know, it's Middle Guard with us. We also have 5 units of Opolchenia, 350 man militia battalions. These guys suck, but they will hold for a little bit. And if they hold well, you really feel it. And then right here, we have the Russian manpower spam. Although, I'll be honest.
No, militia's correct.
Well, no, they've only got 5 units of militia, but I'll be honest, that's a pretty small Russian army compared to most Russian armies I've seen. Probably down to the fact that they have brought so much cavalry. So they have 2 Cossacks, they also have 2 Cossack skirmishers. Britain also bringing some Spanish guerrilla bands to take one of the houses here. And they also have brought Kutuzov, the old man leading the Russian army. We've got 2 Russian dragoons, 3 hussars. Clearly a little bit of a cav force here. No heavy cav from either of these players. That's going to be very dangerous. French heavy cav, well, First French Republic heavy cav. Not the best heavy cav, but it is heavy cav, and realistically, that heavy cav will beat any of the cavalry we're seeing right now in a straight 1-to-1, maybe even 2v1, especially with the light cavalry. But if the unicorns can take them out, then they have gambled correctly, because if you kill your enemy's heavy cav and you didn't bring any, well, you're up, aren't you? So we are just gonna pop over to one of the VCs. I'm still surprised at just... Actually, well, I suppose that is a decent-sized army. Usually you see a Russia with lots more men. It feels like Britain has almost brought more men than this Russia. We'll see that at the end screen, though. But I think about now, we might hop on over to Tom. Tom's sitting in the chat. What's up, big boy?
He's too scared to get
nerd?
into the VC, but he's sitting
He
in
must
the
be
chat.
drunk. He's always drunk. I don't think Tom even drinks, actually, to be fair. Right, well, we are gonna jump over.
He's too busy making videos.
He is too busy making videos. I'm gonna hop on over to the VC of Gremo Gang. If you want to join me, you're welcome to. Where you can just, annoy them as you always do.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are we doing?
We're doing good.
How about
I'm
you?
good, thank you.
Alright, so I've had a little bit of a peek at your army. I kind of gave a little bit of prediction as to what I would assume you guys had, because, I mean, it's Britain and Russia. But I will say, Britain, you have surprised me a little bit.
Oh, wow, okay, thank you.
Because
Is that a good thing?
that is a good thing, actually. So, generally, when you see a British army, you see a little bit less infantry that you've brought. So you have just brought as much infantry, really, as I think you can. I think you kind of, when you were building your army, I can kind of tell that you were just planning on, okay, what's Britain good at? Infantry, let's bring lots of it. You've also went for the 3 elites, but you've went for no heavy cav and only 1 piece of artillery. Although that 1 piece of artillery is the spherical case.
Yep.
Which is gonna do. I don't know. I was saying the spherical case is like a howitzer on crack, where, you know, sometimes it gets 3 kills and sometimes it gets 1,000. That thing can be a monster if it wants to be.
Yep.
And then obviously, yeah, you've only got 3 light cavalry, so it's pretty obvious you're just hoping that your infantry can win the engagements hard enough. You don't need heavy cavalry. On the other hand, though, Russia, there was one thing I was certain of, which is that you would bring 2 25 unicorns. Because obviously, it feels like you have got a slightly smaller Russian army than I'm used to seeing, but I don't know if that's just because I'm going crazy.
Yeah, you know, I felt the same, like, you know, I remember that I could buy more, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean, the important thing for you right now is the fact that you have unicorns and you have got manpower. And you did bring a little bit of a cav corps, although I'm not seeing any heavy cavalry.
Dragoons in a way, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, dragoons are medium cavalry, but it's going to be interesting to see how you face off against the First French Republic, because you're going to have to play your cavalry duels very carefully.
Okay.
So
If there will be any, you know.
actually, well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you guys have strong artillery, and you're both unicorns and spherical case are kind of made to kill cavalry. So we'll see if that was a master play, or if that was a disaster play in the battle.
Let's see.
Thank you, thank you. So how about you guys give us a little bit of a rundown on your plan?
Oof.
Igor,
If you want to air that out. If you want to air that out, of course.
Well, I know our opponents are very secretive, so we'll give the crowd something, you know. We're just planning. We're planning to basically. I'm guessing that they're bringing like millions of grenadiers, so our plan is to just deny them melee at all costs, and just sit down, shoot them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing as a
take
Russia.
a coffee.
Yeah.
Russia very good for dealing with manpower, which is ironic because they're a manpower faction. And of course, Britain will shred anything that tries to fight them. So yeah, okay. So I suppose your plan is to just walk forwards, really, and
pretty much.
and not let them touch you. Well, in that case, I think we've got enough from you. What do you want to say to the many fans you have in the chat? Which, to be fair, you actually do have many fans in the chat. I'm seeing more Gremo gang than TFG.
Yeah. Well, you know, shout out to my family in the crowd. You know, my friends.
They will definitely
about
know.
it.
They will definitely know that you shouted them out from my stream.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, you know, guys, I think about you. This is for you. I can still hear you when I'm doing this. Let's go.
That's about it.
Well, in that case, thank you for chatting to me. Best of luck to both of you. Please don't crash.
I'll try.
And yeah, no, best of luck. It sounds like a decent strategy. We'll see how that plays out. And now I'm going to head over to the other VC against your opponents. And we'll see what their strategy is, because their strategy might be the same, and we might not even have a battle. Yes. All right. Well, thanks for chatting, and good luck.
See you.
Yeah, good luck.
Can't they? There's a cavalry unit behind us. Hello.
How are we doing?
Hi.
I think we sneaked in a little
Alright.
conversation there.
Yeah, it was a realization.
Alright. So, we have had a little chat to your opponents. They've given us a little bit of their strategies. We're watching from their POV, so we've looked over their armies, gone into a little bit of detail on that. So, how are you guys feeling? Are you excited for the battle?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We haven't been bumped down by anything recently. We're confident.
Okay, good. So, do you want to run me through the first French Republic as a faction pick?
It's a varied faction.
As definitely a
got-
varied faction.
Yeah, they got grenadiers, which is good.
Okay.
Um,
Could that be a
yeah.
hint towards your army by any chance?
No.
Okay, right. The question we all want to know. The question everybody wants to know. Have you gone Grenadiers only again, or is it just a regular army? Or it's something different this time?
It was always a regular army. That's all I got to say.
Oh, okay. You're still keeping it a little bit cryptic. I swear, if I'm watching this and I see another Grenadier army...
Hold on. I can promise you it's not entirely Grenadiers.
Okay, but you
There's
know what? That's something. That's something. Is that because you brought cavalry
Technically,
too? And artillery?
technically, it's not all grenadiers. Okay.
Well, if it is all Grenadiers, then I really hope you rewatched the stream and heard some of me and Tobik's ideas towards your armies. But anyway, so how about is there a little strategy you guys have thought of that you want to share to the stream? Well, where
It's
are you?
pretty
where
flat
we going?
map. There's no real strategizing. I think it's quite obvious what our opponents wish to do, which is, howitzers, blah blah blah.
Okay, so
Um,
you gonna walk forward and fight them, or are you gonna go around them? What are we thinking? If that's something you want to share.
I think we'll vibe it. So no
You'll
worries.
vibe it. You'll vibe it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. All right, so I'm ready whenever you guys are, and I'll let Gremo gang know that I'm also ready, whenever they are. But I think we've gleaned a little bit of information there, as much as we can. I'm excited to see your Grenadier Death stack appear in 5 minutes. But yeah, no, it's been good speaking to you. Is there anything you guys want to say to your many adoring fans?
We're doing it for them. That's for sure.
Okay. You're doing it for them. There is people saying TFJ in the chat. But yeah, I am gonna disappear. Best of luck to you guys. Don't crash. Well, I guess best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay.
So,
We are all alone again. Hey, Chris, welcome back. Think the battle. Okay, they're saying they're ready. Anything you want to add to this, Chris, while you're sitting here?
I got a feeling they might have just done like the normal French Republic army en masse.
I highly doubt it. I get the feeling they've brought.
I don't think they would do that.
No,
though.
I think they've brought a half and half of demi brigades and grenadiers.
that would be such a.
Oh
God.
I was trying to keep myself from saying it, but I would be very. But I'd be quite disappointed. Not disappointed, but if they brought a grenadier only army again for the 4th time.
I feel like though what they would do is bring like a militia horde this time because they've been bringing grenadiers every time. That's what everybody's expecting.
I feel like
So
right
they're
now,
gonna-
yeah, they should, because the thing is, their opponents have fought them 3 times, technically 3 times, but they've fought them twice properly, 2 full battles where they brought only grenadiers. First battle, it worked out for them; they won the battle. Second battle, Gremo gang immediately knew, okay, they're just gonna bring grenadiers again, and then chose Russia, and then won that battle. And this time their strategy is, okay, yeah, we're just gonna not let them charge us. And one of them's playing as Russia, and the other one is playing as Britain, who doesn't even have heavy cavalry. It's just infantry spam Britain, who will tear apart anyone charging them.
Are they allowed to play Russia again?
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, I mean, either way, they would have been allowed to play Russia again, because it's the decider battle.
I see.
So yeah, we're just waiting for everybody to start the battle now. Tom's saying good choice of factions if they do spam. I mean, yeah, to be fair, honestly, I prefer the First French Republic's Grenadiers over Bavarian and Saxony. While Bavaria and Saxony have very good Grenadiers, I believe First French Republic's Grenadiers are, they're larger, and that largeness will really help them because the biggest problem they've had so far is with their Grenadiers, all they've done is just shove them to the front of the line because they were the front line, they didn't have any other units, and they got torn to shreds by the front line of their opponent because they got torn to shreds, they didn't have anything to charge with anymore, therefore leaving their Grenadiers pointless. Honestly, I think the best play they could have done right now if they want to keep doing their Grenadier factions is that they bring only like half of their army is militia, the other half of their army is Grenadiers, and they use that.
Might be what they have done.
Honestly, that would be way, way, way better. That has a pretty decent chance of working because at that point they have the bigger Grenadier units. They're keeping the Grenadiers in reserve, and most importantly, their Grenadier units aren't getting eaten alive in the front line. Instead, the militia, who are useless, are taking all of the shots, kind of weakening their opponents. Oh, and we're in. Kind of weakening their opponents in the front line too, and kind of synergizing with the fact that the Grenadiers, who behind them, will destroy whoever's in front. I did see, I think it was Clone Trooper there saying, missed the chance to put Cossacks behind the enemy in the corner is a tragedy. I agree with that. I always love shoving one back there because if you, even if you lose the cavalry unit, it just tells you what their whole army is, basically. I think Chris has just left me. Yeah. Okay, well, we're off. So a brigade of Russian musketeers on the left going to be a reserve force for the UK. No, I think this is just their Opolchenia spam. I think they're just using that as a block of manpower just for the middle. Because these guys can form square. Normally you'd look at a militia spam like this behind artillery and think, oh my god, what are they doing? They're going to lose their artillery. But no, these guys can form square. Honestly, not a bad front line to go up with. Just because the Opolchenia are kind of useless other than being a manpower blob. The main thing I'm intrigued by is the fact that Britain has so much manpower. This is going to be a real roadblock for the First French Republic going up against them. Because, I mean, First French Republic, their whole thing is going to be either, right now it's going to be either fully, we're going to mass charge them, or it's going to be, we're going to charge them with, we're going to sit in the front line with them and shoot them, but they can't do that. They cannot bring Sans-Culottes as their front line without the Sans-Culottes being their whole army, because they will just get chewed through relentlessly by this British infantry, and then the Grenadiers will be the front line again. And the one, like, if it's bad enough putting Grenadiers in the front line against an infantry unit, like, doing that against a Briton is, like, the next tier of hell, because Britain will eat you alive in that gunfight, especially if you're a Grenadier unit. It won't even be close, and it will be game over, essentially. If I see a Grenadier line come up like that against this Briton, I'm calling the game. I think, like, unless, to be fair, TFG, very solid team, unless TFG pulls something ridiculous out, like, they just do a big charge at the start, they've got all the reserves, they use their heavy cavalry because the enemy's not set up their artillery to shoot them yet, they get around them, they do something, they use the cavalry to push through with the Grenadiers. If they get a big breakthrough in this Britain, and realistically it's going to be in the Britain, Russia has too many men, and these guys are just too good at melee, really, for a big breakthrough like that. Although, you never know, this is the game of pure luck, really, sometimes. I mean, it's MTW. But if this, like, realistically, if they just walk up and they have their Grenadiers in a chunk and they pin the flanks and then they blast right through with their heavy cavalry, cut off this left side, wipe that, that's really their only chance to get into this if they've gone Grenadier only, because the worst part here is not only you fighting a Russia, you're fighting a Russia where you're going to be funneled in on these spots. So here, this is a river, so they would have to charge across that, and they would lose if they did that. they're funneled a little bit here, funneled again here, their front line would have to be here, and the majority of the fighting would include this force in the middle, and you can't really charge in force because it slows you down by like half your speed, it tires you out, you're gonna get shot a lot, you know. It's really not gonna be fantastic. Okay, we are seeing some cavalry come out of the woodworks. Carabiners and dragoons. We have 2 units of carabiners. French already showing that they have, with both of these heavy cavalry, they now have an infinitely larger cavalry advantage over the entirety of the coalition, because coalition has 3 light cavalry here. Oh, sorry. Oh no! The Cossack Lancer House of Doom. They've been trapped for all eternity in the house. They've lost their cavalry to the house. So that's a great start for the coalition. But now we do have we have 3 light cavalry units here, one here, one here, one here, and obviously we have the Russians spreading out here. Oh wow, even more heavy cavalry. 2 heavy cavalry here, 1 here. This is going to be crazy cavalry-wise. It's not even going to be that close. Oh wow. The French are going to have to really pull off something magic with their cavalry. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to grab a drink. I'll be 1 second. I'll zoom on in this. Okay, I don't think I missed anything.
Moving out! Come on!
Okay, let's do the check. Yep, the unicorns are still alive, that's the important thing. Yeah, okay, so Coalition are completely out-calved. Oh, okay, we're seeing a switch up. Oh my god, they might have actually done it. They've only gone and done it. Oh my god. It's Sankula Grenadier spam. Oh, wow. Britain is running their men to get to their positions here. Obviously trying to set up their artillery here. Although their artillery is quite far away. We're seeing a charge. I think it's these dragoons here. Charging from quite far away, these hussars. The coalition, Britain here, trying to screen the cavalry up and press it here to slow down the advance of Sankula, because right now, the opening of every NTW game, both sides have done it too, Sankula and Grenadier spam, okay, they've just made this very interesting. Essentially, these early stages of the game are entirely around screening. The first, I know there's not a timer, but first 10-15 minutes of the game is always coming down to who can screen better and who can use their cavalry advantage the best. Right now, arguably, even though the French do have these heavy cavalry, until they do, they need to make a little bit of a change, need to be a little bit more aggressive. Admittedly, they don't want to lose the heavy cap to the British here. Britain doing a pretty solid job of it, to be honest with you. Because obviously, Britain, before this battle really started, they said, okay, I want this gun here. And I want these guys here. They're probably going to move these guys a little bit closer. They're wanting to do that because it means that it allows them this little gap here where the Russians can fill in and they can use their unicorns because they want to create a little cone of safety in front of them. That's why they've actually surrounded them with Opolchenia, is because they want to... So normally, by the way, as a rule, you're not allowed to square over howitzers because it makes it impossible for the cavalry to kill them. This, however, isn't a square. This is 4 units of... Oh my god! Unicorns! Showing why you bring them. Wow! Yeah, so this little square here is a literal square of infantry. Instead of it being like you click the unit, you click the square. That's just 4 units of Opolchenia brought to surround the artillery. Make sure no cavalry gets to that ever. Yeah, okay, Britain running their men. One of the few times it's acceptable to get to their positioning, because like I said, it's all about positioning. Who can get where first? Because it means that right now, Britain own this house. They don't have any units in it, but their zone of control is kind of this house. Because they're going up against militia who are breaking. Yes, they do have men coming over to help them, but because they've run their men up here, one of the cardinal sins of FCN is running your men. But that doesn't matter. If you run your men at the start, they've got a lot of time to kind of recover, but also they can get these extra shots off where they can hit the men without getting shot back. They can shoot these guys. Oh, the unicorn is so nasty. It also means they can get this little flank here. Oh my, they are pounding this area, wow. But it also means that they can secure positioning like this right now. Key positioning, which is, okay, we now own this house. We now own this little area here. You see he's running, trying to get to this little redoubt so he can shove his men on it. All's just so they can get the spherical case. Now, spherical case, they've got to be careful with this, because spherical case doesn't really work when it's staying still, because it's a round shot artillery. People kind of treat it like a howitzer. It really isn't a howitzer and shouldn't be treated as one, because it doesn't fire in an arc. It fires straight forwards because it's a round shot artillery. And so when they fire it, they hit through all of the backs of their men, and then the cannon does no damage. The best thing to do with the spherical case artillery, also, sorry, we've got a little bit of a charge here, I think. Although Britain is ready for it, they're going to get some
Our men are running, sir!
On this, men running in the house. 2 units of grenadiers going up against them. I mean, it's cavalry versus grenadiers. Oh, speaking of cavalry, oh no. Oh no, what a disaster for the French. Oh no. Wow. Well, you've got to give it to the British there. Artillery both aiming at this. You gotta give it to the British there. They moved the men up. They actually ran their men up so they'd be in line faster. And a little bit of a mixture of Britain just playing it well. They got their front line volleys off, and then last minute they formed square and they killed even more men, killing almost half of this heavy cavalry unit. Almost 10 men in this one, a couple men dead in this one. I mean, they've nearly killed half a heavy cavalry unit for 10 men. Wow. Really played well by Britain. It was partly Britain playing well and also a little bit of a blunder in the French had. Although, speaking of a little bit of a blunder here, I know that Britain here is going for a little bit of an advance and to push these guys away. And
sir,
yes, Britain is very good at shooting.
Our general is under attack.
But they're not good enough at shooting to beat 3 Sankula, as much as you might wish that. Anyway, who joined the VC?
Well, look at the cat dragged in.
Look at what the cat dragged in. We've got Tomic here. Hello, Tomic.
Oh, I'm popping in for a few minutes. How are you all going? How are you all doing?
I'm doing good. Just streaming, as you know.
Watching your stream. Look, very interesting place. I've got double French Republic.
Yeah, you can almost smell the fact that they've seen the Batanki video. Although yeah. I've got to give it to them. I mean, right now, we got to do check. I don't know if they know they're doing this, but they have got their men, a British foot battalion, getting actively canistered by a 12-pounder. Might want to move that one back, bud. Oh, okay. They're gonna.
This building has fallen to the enemy.
Directly for us. They know spherical cases are round shot artillery because they're actually splitting their line open
Gotta
to
set
be
that up
able
quickly
to
though.
fire it. They should have it active before this.
Oh, it's active now.
Yeah, it's about to be.
Yeah.
I really like the French strategy here because originally, obviously, we knew. Oh my God, the shrapnel artillery, and that's why you bring shrapnel artillery.
Oh, good shot.
They have done a lot of damage. They killed 50.
There we are, Chris. Wow. I did tell you it was insane, didn't I?
It is severely misunderstood as an artillery piece. It is disgusting. I only recently kind of figured it out, but the way I always describe it is it's like a round shot howitzer. So good.
Yeah, well, he's destroyed that gun as well.
Yeah, well, this gun over here has been nuked by 2 20-pound unicorns. We knew it wasn't long for this Earth.
We're a couple of seconds behind.
It's looking like an early victory for Gremo Gang so far.
Yeah,
They've been matching the French everywhere.
The tides can definitely turn. They are definitely matching the French, and obviously they hold the 1 pointer here. Although the only thing is, I'm pretty sure that's a 2 pointer there. That's 1 point. And I think that's 1 point as well. So that's 2, 3, 4. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're winning. Gremo Gang are winning on points.
Here's the thing, though. Knowing how battles work, TFJ, I think, almost certainly is going to bring in some trump cards soon, because this should not be their whole force.
Oh yeah, no,
it's
for
just
sure.
a screening force.
This is their screening force is. I actually predicted it before the battle with you, Chris. Actually, where I said they're gonna bring. Oh, there's the other top ender, still canistering as well. Actually, is that Opolchenya just broke Sankula? Wow, we know who's better now. Yeah, I predicted beforehand that when I saw their armies, I said I'm really hoping we don't see a double Grenadier spam. I'm thinking half their army is going to be Sankula and half their army is going to be Grenadiers.
It's not a terrible plan.
It's not, honestly, because the thing is, I was repeating this over and over again. The biggest problem me and yourself had with Gremo Gang's army, it wasn't that they were bringing only Grenadiers. It was that they were bringing only Grenadiers, but they weren't acting on it. And because they weren't acting on it, their only front line was Grenadiers. And so when that didn't work out, it meant that their whole front line was just getting eaten alive in the gunfight, and then they were too weak to charge.
Can I just ask real quick, what is that at the back there? Russian, like, huge stack. What is that?
That is the
That's a militia square, I think.
That's Grenadiers, and that's a militia square. Yeah.
Yeah, that square, yeah. Wow, that's just huge.
I mean, it's 4 Opolchenya. If you're gonna bring it, I suppose use it as a permanent guard to the artillery. I mean,
no, the Grenadiers I meant. Yeah, the Opolchenya is a good move. I agree.
But yeah, no, about the French, yeah, like our biggest complaint was that they didn't have any frontline infantry, and that was realistically why they were losing so much. Their frontline infantry just wasn't. You know, because it was the Grenadiers, it meant that they couldn't actually do the charges.
Yeah.
But, oh, the shrapnel! Oh my, it's the shrapnel! I love it.
Too good tonight.
I love it.
Too good.
Well, we're about to see it.
Yeah, but the
oh god.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Consular Guard Grenadiers as well. They're ready.
So, I was gonna say they have to push the middle. Surely it's the only point they can push.
Yeah, I mean, Unicorns aiming for the heavy cavalry now. Well spotted. Yeah, I mean the thing is, obviously the British control this center point. Center point is going to be the most important point here because realistically, the only place that is highly protected would be this one pointer here. Obviously, they do have a little bit of artillery on it. I mean, the Unicorns can fire at it, but the Unicorns can still fire at this point too. I mean, they're 20-pound Unicorns. The weakest point is this. And yes, the British can bring lots of reserves, but the biggest French forces are here and over here. They've kind of went to this right side of the battle for their army.
Yeah.
And so, realistically, they're going to be best pushing this. Or, you know, they might surprise us and go for one of the British ones over here or whatever. Because realistically, Britain is the one that is better to charge because you don't want to charge at Russia. But we'll have to see because obviously they have a lot of their men condensed here. It depends on how much damage the Unicorns can do.
Here's the thing as well, like even if they did go far left, they've got that huge Russian grenadier reserve, they can kind of just match and move. So I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah,
but
I really like it.
obviously we know about that, the French don't, and we don't know what the French are doing, really. So
yeah. We have seen a rather large Grenadier corps over here. We had 2 units of Grenadiers here, another 3 here, another one here. Like, we're just gonna have to.
Grenadiers, haven't they?
They have gone. Well, they have done the right thing, which was, they have a front line now. They have a front line of their front line is now, you know, militia, which also means that the unicorns that are hitting them are hitting the Sankula. Again, it's working for them. Ooh, unicorns. Unicorns going for that. Not unicorns, round shot going for that. Yeah, perfect target. They've done really well for doing that. Oh, we're seeing a cavalry charge here from the British. Well, they make it to that 12-pounder. Looks like they might. Oh,
that's
yes,
a good target.
They get.
It's got 2 guns.
Our men are running, sir.
Got 2 guns. It is now.
It's only costing what 200 gold for a 700 gold piece. Yeah, that's definitely a worthy trade there.
Yeah, it was a good move. It worked out for them. And the best part for me is, obviously they're working quite hard to take out. Oh, they need to put their French gunners back onto this cannon, but it's only on 1 gun now because there's only 5 men. Yeah, I really like the coalition strategy right here. Yeah, some people might be a little bit annoyed about it, say it's a little bit slow, but their strategy is entirely take the points, set the artillery up, and then just entirely counter battery, and they've done that really well. This gun has lost a lot of men. This gun is down to 5 men and 1 cannon. This gun here is actually just broken because it's at 3 because the shrapnel artillery ruined it. The only functional 2 cannon gun that hasn't lost any men is this one on the far right, but there's no artillery to fight it. And now that those artillery are severely weakened, the Russians immediately they've flickered their guns onto the cavalry of the French, because right now the only advantage that the French have against the coalition is the fact that they have heavy cavalry. They both have, at least that we've seen, 2 units of heavy cav, which will be a nightmare for the coalition if they can get into their lines with them. We're actually seeing a little bit.
Have to follow
we're seeing a lancer charge in the side of one of the carabiner units. Again, 2 units of carabiners here. Unicorns might aim for them. I don't know.
Sonic Lancers, they can only bring what 2 carabiners per force, I think. So that is their heavy cav.
That's their heavy cav.
Lancers
there.
didn't do so well.
And there's another unit. Well, I think the strategy was literally just, okay, let's just charge them on the side, because
honestly,
rather than dead.
Honestly, that wood on the left, I think, would be my if I was playing this as TFJ, I would go through that wood with a 3-line grenadier attack, because it shields me from unicorns, for example. And also makes my attack unseen until I get right to the front.
That is honestly quite a good idea. But you know what? Because the thing is, I kind of disregarded it.
Oh, guys.
I kind of disregard this forests because my main problem would be, yes, that is smart, shield it. Because I kind of disregarded the fact that they do have these unicorns, and I kind of forgot how much of a problem they're going to be, because they really are.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you do want to put your kind of best guys in somewhere where they won't get hit by artillery. So, you know, behind a building, in a forest, you know, just try and reduce the amount of casualties they'll take from the unicorns. My only problem with it was, first of all, Grenadiers against a Russia generally isn't a great move. So you need to do it in force. You need to have lots of Grenadiers where they have little men, make the breakthrough, and then secure the breakthrough with line infantry. You know, be careful about it, blah, 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 obviously. The only thing was, yes, it is a force and it will conceal you and it'll do all that stuff, but it also takes away from the strength of the Grenadiers, because the Grenadiers don't charge as fast, they'll get more tired, and obviously we can see what the Russians have. We can see that the Russians have basically no backline. In fact, they're using their elites in the line. Tut, tut, tut. But
I think they realised that if they didn't do that, they're going to get swamped there, to be fair. I think.
But because they have spent a lot of money on cavalry and also artillery. The artillery doing so much damage.
It's good, but it has to start getting. You know, it has to hit those elite units. hit the carabiners, hit the grenadiers, don't hit the Sankular. I wouldn't even go for the one-gun artillery pieces anymore because they're not going to be able to hit you in the redoubt. So there's no counter battery threat because of that lip of the hill, and so all we're going to hit is the Opportunia or line infantry and get basically no kills.
Yeah.
So now you've got to think, what else am I going to target? I've reduced it to one gun. The shrapnel artillery might even be able to reduce it to 0 guns in one volley.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it only really does take one volley now from even an infantry unit, which I think they might be trying to do with this Opportunia, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this militia is really low in manpower. Let's be fair to them. Fought well against the British. I mean, obviously Britain's going to win this gunfight, and it's not even going to be close. But they're doing well. They're doing what militia is made for: just being annoying, killing some men, attritioning.
The difference between us fighting as the French, or me personally fighting as the French here, is I was on the defensive, and so it was a lot easier for me to be able to attack the British.
Clone Trooper is keeping me on my toes here in the chat. The £9 spherical case is moving up.
Oh yeah.
Very
good shot.
Yeah, very good spot from you, Clone Trooper.
Must
but
protect
also,
that though. Must protect.
Yeah, a great move from Mr. Pecklock here playing as Britain. Yeah, move that gun up.
I like that position as well. It's slightly ahead of the above the infantry, so it can probably hit over the top.
Yeah, they'll be able to hit either ranks of these million. I imagine that is where they'll be aiming for. Either that or they'll be aiming for the £12 artillery on that left side that's fresh. I mean, also, just the classic, we're seeing what you do against artillery.
Right.
Formed a little bolt. Try and stay away from that canister. Although, saying that, they're actually limbering that 12-pounder up. Probably going to try and move
they have to push with artillery to even make it possible to go against the British, to be honest.
It's their only chance. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, to be able to kill the British, you can't really rely on the gunfight to kill Britain, because Britain is just that good in the gunfight. Ooh, another piece of artillery down, actually, these guys breaking. Yeah, Britain is just that good in the gunfight that it's not worth risking it to try and fight them 1-to-1. Unless you're playing as an equally good shooting faction like a Prussia, but at that point, you're already playing as two factions that shouldn't be really against each other. Good spot from Brent here. But yeah, you need to just use that artillery to canister them, and to be fair to them, they have done that in some spots where they could. Like this guy here has been canistered. They almost didn't even try canistering run shot here until it was kind of over for them. Because they were just canistering the British units, and they did damage with it. They did what they wanted to do, which was to attrition them down and make them less usable in the gunfight. So yeah, they've done really well with the canister they could, but unfortunately for them, Coalition just got rid of their guns. Nothing you can do after that.
Yeah, I think the French might try a push on the right before they try a push on the left, because they've got the towns, they've got some sort of anchor there. Even if it is contested slightly on the outskirts. And so they'll probably try and, I think that's their strongest point right now, even if it is against British line.
Yeah.
They can just push the Sankular up as a meat shield, and then pull the Grenadiers into melee. And the British pushing them now actually on the left here. Very interesting. They've noticed that 12-pounder has been moved.
Which means that they can move in on them. Very nice.
But they can redeploy that again. I don't know. Is it worth attacking here? Probably.
Honestly,
if you just keep them at bay with a gunfight, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So,
what I've got to say though,
just pull back.
For Britain is, so right now, obviously, their main main worry for them is going to be losing this house here. This is the one pointer that is making them win the game and allow them to sit in the defensive. Not that they are staying in the defensive; they're playing very aggressively. Again, nothing wrong with that. Honestly, playing aggressively can really work out for you. But I think it's probably wise of Britain here to move up a little bit, because they actually do have more reserves than a normal British army does. They are getting chewed up a little bit too much for my liking by the Sankular. That shrapnel artillery firing again. Killing 30 men in the Consular Guard Grenadiers.
Oh gosh, what a shot.
Yeah,
that's why they pulled it up then. That's why that's why they pulled it up.
Yeah, I mean,
that's bad
it's
news.
honestly, British line losing a little bit too much for my liking against the second half.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the
Yeah, I
French,
agree.
that is good for them.
Perfect.
Because the one thing I'm worried about for this Britain is that they are going to stand here and they're going to fight the gunfight for too long. At this point, I would have fired a couple of volleys and I might have stepped backwards, because they are winning the gunfight, yes, but behind all of these units are Grenadier units, and these Grenadier units, the second they stand collaborate or you move too close, right, moving up a little step forwards again, realistically, all this British player needs to do, and the British player needs to not.
Why is he pushing up so much?
I think the reason he's pushing up is, in my humble opinion, this is a very important point. They can't kind of allow this to fall, and so by pressuring the right flank of the French, their left flank, it makes it so that the French can't exactly sit back and plan to just take that one pointer over there. It means that they have to go, okay, so we're going to go take that one pointer, but I need to make sure that I still have something on my right flank so that the British can't just push through and take our one pointer. Although that's obviously my speculation. It might not be correct.
Interesting that the British have moved reserves from the middle to the left, which is obviously what I thought the French were going to attack on the right sooner than this. But if those reserves are now gone from the middle, then that's the one pointer. That's the only thing that's holding them in this game.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful not to relinquish too much control over that, even if the French do look weak in that area. I totally get what they're doing there. I think the French will attack this side. We've got heavy cavalry here. We've got two heavy cavalries here. I think it's like Dragoon or Carabiner, I can't quite tell. But yeah.
Yeah, because I think they're just sitting here and they're waiting for the British to kind of lose enough manpower in their divisions for it to be worth charging.
Yeah.
Because if you take a point blank volley from one of these British units, it's over.
It's over.
But they have the Grenadier advantage. They 100% have the melee advantage over here. And they also have the reserve advantage. They just have more men. And they also have the heavy cavalry advantage. So while I would be a little bit impatient and say, like, I think they should shoot, or they should just charge them already, blah, blah, blah. You know, patience is a virtue. And I think that they are showing very good patience right now by just sitting there and letting the British tire themselves out. You know, lose the manpower.
Definitely is a mistake from the British here is that in the town they bunch that infantry up way too tight, and so that's on the street, which I get you're trying to control the street, but the problem is the Grenadiers, that's a perfect target for them because the whole British unit can't volley them to death if they get close. And actually those Grenadiers really should take that unit apart there.
Yeah.
The other one that's sitting on the extreme left of the British flanks is so weak.
Also, I'm pretty sure if they get that in melee, they could just chuck their heavy cav into it and step backwards.
Oh yeah.
I mean, either way though,
deep,
really, even if they wanted to, they could have just lined their Grenadier unit and just outshot the British.
Outshot the British, yeah, totally. 100% agree. That is a very. I would pull that back if they tried to attack there. But it's very interesting. Oh, the British actually pushing forward in the centre as well.
Yeah, I mean, these two units here have been fighting this three-man line of Saint-Nicolas for a while now. I mean, we're really seeing the definition of Britain versus militia here, because, I mean, look at that. Saint-Nicolas down to 134 men in that unit, 121 in that one, not really lost any in that one, because it seems to be like, one unit can only fire at another unit. So, I mean, 25 men in that unit and 60 men in the other. For these guys, I mean, you would argue like, oh, well, obviously, you know, they're gonna destroy them because they're Saint-Nicolas, blah blah blah. But I'm not trying to say that this is a good decision from the British. It isn't. I'm arguing here that the French are making a good decision. Strapping artillery really killing this gun.
They just gotta keep their Grenadiers safe.
Yeah, I mean,
think a lot of them are too exposed right now.
This is really good. I really like what the French are doing here because they are doing. They're attritioning these guys. They have also made this gun into canister. You know, they're attritioning the British. They're letting the British take casualties, and I mean, it all depends on how weak that sentinel really is.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we can't see. The only thing I would say is just pop one shrapnel shell in the middle of those three units. If they like a minute ago they were on like half morale.
Yeah.
Pop one shrapnel shell and they would have all broken. You got to think of the militia a little bit like blobs of infantry. Like if one break, they all break. So just target on one, it's almost actually worth, because they're so low in accuracy, just selecting both your units and hitting one unit at a time. That's the OG sort of play in like Chrome Total War, the original. You'd have like 5 archers versus your enemy 5 archers, and you'd focus fire one down at a time until they. And so that's a great play against militia, because you can break one, the rest of them are suddenly on red morale, take another volley there going as well.
Yeah, 100%. The shock factor of that militia will really affect.
That shrapnel shot will really start hitting them hard. I know it's not worth the kills, but it is worth breaking them and saving your own men's lives. So yeah, he has pulled back there actually, which is the right move. British player, I mean.
Well, actually, I think it was the French that moved back.
Oh really?
Yeah. Shrapnel cannon once again claiming.
That's that shrapnel. That gun.
Very strong cannon. I mean, right now we are seeing the weakness of a militia front line, which is, yes, they have lots of manpower. Yes, they are matched to the British, but they're losing the gunfight. And I don't know how many reserves this French player has.
The thing about this is it's a difficult situation for the French. As you saw with me, attacking with militia is just not a good idea. When I played that game against the Russians, it was just terrible for me in every situation. But I think the only play you can do is gunfight for about 10 minutes, reduce their manpower, make them like or whatever. Then you pull your grenadiers in, pull your grenadiers out again, and replace them with the militia, and just do that cycle over and over again. If you lose the militia,
so, 2 unicorn shots, both unicorn shots landed in the middle of that Sankula unit.
Oh yeah, that's gone. Yeah.
Ouch. I just realised we've not even looked at this side, the Russians versus the Sankula, and honestly,
I don't see it.
It's going worse over here. Well, not worse over here. It's definitely not going worse for the. But I mean, Russia. It shows that 50 manpower difference, because Russia has. They definitely do have better stats. I think they have like double the stats of the Sankula actually, because the Sankula are that bad. But the Sankula are losing the gunfight to Russia, and they're not really winning. They're not really losing it well. They're losing it noticeably badly. Although I say that, they've killed a decent amount.
Now here's the other thing: militia, they will break on for about half casualties on, unless you. This is what I found: is if you chev the Sankula at 1, it costs about 25 gold. It costs like nothing. It gets their cohesion up from 4 to 5, and suddenly they're a really low tier sort of equivalent to a low tier light infantry, like one of the bad ones that you would never pick. But suddenly their cohesion's above, it's 5. It's no longer 4, and they will hold for that extra 50 casualties, and then suddenly that 25 gold becomes worth it, and they're less prone to the shock factor and stuff like that. So like maybe you lose 5 Sankula, but everyone has a chevron. I find that's worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
But so maybe that would have been helpful, but it's just hard to tell. You can never predict what's going to happen here.
Yeah, you never can.
Both. Yeah.
I mean, right now we're already seeing. I mean, the French, they're doing well. They're doing.
Our men are running, sir.
I mean, we can't really expect much. Oh, a charge in the artillery here. They get it. Good charge from the British. I mean, they're kind of just showing why you don't need heavy cav. Neither of the coalition have.
So cheap as well.
Yeah, they haven't brought heavy cav.
So cheap.
And they've killed 2 pieces of artillery. Well, technically 1 piece of artillery, but they really damaged another one with their light cav.
Yeah.
And they also.
Such a good trade.
But all they've done is they've just found the heavy cavalry of the French, and then they've bombed it with their cavalry and that's not cavalry. They've bombed it with their artillery, and it's really worked.
Again, I think now French need to start moving. They should have been in position by now. If they're not in position now, they're not going to be in position in time. I'm quite honest with you. I think they need to commit to one side. If they can break through either side, I'm suggesting they break through on their right flank, but now the British have pulled reserves to that side because that's obviously what they were going to do. I also don't know why they've got like 15 units in a townhouse. Like, what are they doing with that?
Oh no, France. I think they've, the cavalry is being claimed by the house once again. That is 2 carabiners.
Our men are running for.
And a dragoon.
No.
But to be fair, the dragoons did break a British infantry.
Can they dismount or something and pull out?
No.
Oh, there we go. The Grenadiers charging.
Yeah, I mean they broke 1 unit. They did well there. So far, the first use of the Grenadiers has been a success.
That's really buggy.
Yeah, that house is super buggy.
That's not good. That might have actually stopped their attack on that side.
Yeah, I mean I've got to be honest here. I think the weakest point of the coalition to even try and attack would be this left side, because I mean obviously we can see that, the French can't. But if the French could see it, this is the target they should be going for, because I mean look at the front line.
Yeah,
This is, they don't have any reserves, and there's a point
just
behind
pull
it.
back Grenadiers. Yeah, 100%. They just pull back their Grenadier reserve because I don't think they think the French are going to attack there.
Yeah.
Which I can understand why, because they did probe that forest and they only saw 1 Grenadier or a couple of units of Grenadiers. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disappear very quickly for 1 second. So Tom, if you can cast for a moment,
I will.
That'd be great.
Cast.
Thank you, good sir.
That's why I'm here. It's anything now, guys. But yeah, looking at this, I mean, what do you guys think in chat? Who do you think is going to win this? I think it's still a close game. I really hope that the French are concentrating somewhere. You need to concentrate somewhere. If that's on the that house has really messed them up though, with those buggy cavalry. I think that's really unfortunate for them. Looks like the British, I think, from Dan's perspective here, are just slightly pushing forward in the middle. Again, very static play from the French. Maybe they're waiting for the last minute and they're going to try and take that middle point. That's a good tactic. Yeah, definitely. I think it favours them, but you've got to be careful, because if the French do snag that middle point right at the end, there's not a lot the Russians can do, because they can't run in reinforcements, because they're basically going to exhaust them. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, the French can wait until the end, but the thing is that I don't know why they pulled their Grenadiers too far forward. Like, yes, if you're going to do that, just don't let them see the Grenadiers in the rear rank. Just let have a couple that out for bait the artillery or whatever. But because they've pushed them so far forward, the artillery is just whittling them down, and also you can kind of see where they're concentrating. Yeah. The British are stuck in a meat grinder, but they have reserves, and the Sankula are good, but not on the attack. Let's just say that. Yeah. They are a wild card, you're right. I think the Russian reserve of those Grenadiers is good. I don't think the French know they exist, which is also good for the French. So for the Russians, they need to keep it that way. That shrapnel artillery position is basically going to close down that middle, though. They might, in money-wise, they are, yes, but the reason I don't know if you've watched the battle where I use the same tactic the French are using, but I bring a lot more militia. And the reason I bought a lot more militia is because I basically have 2 lines of militia rather than the 1. I'm so focused in one area that I keep swapping out units, and the British having to bunch up their line infantry are then losing more. But because they've spread out, I would say taking a trade, destroying the Sankula is not a terrible idea. It's not a terrible trade, because you've got the artillery supremacy. The French do not have artillery supremacy at all, and so if you don't support your militia with artillery, they become sort of just chickens waiting to be slaughtered, I think, at this point. All the French 12 pounders are pretty much dead. Even if they had 1 left, like those unicorns are going to chew up the Sankula. They aren't very accurate though, so I would always preference a target with a Grenadier rather than a Sankula. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't see anything from this perspective on the right side. I'm looking at that mini-map. I think the French are going to push to the right. But also that huge red blob could be those buggy units. I really hope that they can sort that out, but it doesn't look promising on the right there. I mean, the Russians are spread out all the way to their right flank. It might just, it might be worth pulling some of that, just exploring that area with that cavalry a bit more. Might even be worth a Russian push on that pointer on the left. Yeah, I agree somewhat. With that. They're not going to get that attrition though without artillery support from the for the Sankular. The only way I was able to hold back any British attack was because of the artillery. This is a crazy game. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting. I do agree with you though, Aswood. Hope I'm saying that correct. But it's going to be interesting if the Sankular can cause enough damage. But then you've got to think, Grenadiers charge, right, the initial British line, after the Sankular have gone and wasted themselves. Then what are you going to replace the Grenadiers with to allow them to refresh themselves? It could be just another problem with the Grenadiers routing because of that, reserve British line coming up. Yeah, Russia is a problem. I agree. Having a huge manpower faction against the militia is pretty much their best counterplay.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
Shrapnel artillery, and as we saw, the shrapnel artillery does the damage. I wish the British had bought more of it, but they have done a really good job mopping up the French artillery with some cheap cav. Yeah, that's exactly. The French artillery is gone. If the French artillery concentrated themselves on the right of their line and started really dealing the damage, then they could have pushed earlier, yeah. See those Grenadiers moving to the left, maybe they're trying to push that left centre. Oh, it's so hard to tell from this perspective, but I don't see any big push. They're very, very close to each other, these units. That would be bad if they don't have the elites on the flank. I'm hoping that those 3 units behind the main line are elites. Hope the camera guy, yeah. He'll be back in a second. Canister will be lethal, yeah. Remember those unicorns can deal well with artillery. Just one hit can destroy an entire unit. It's happened to me last battle. I was trying to do exactly that, bring an artillery 9-pounder, 8-pounder up to the town, and just sit it in the town, allowing me to have canister, but before I could deploy them, the unicorns just ripped me apart. There's nothing the French can do against those unicorns either, because they don't have guerrilla troops, one. Secondly, because of where the unicorns are deployed, they're behind a lip of the redoubt, and so you can't counter battery unless you have a howitzer, which I don't think the French have. And even if they did have a howitzer, it'd be shorter range than the unicorns. That means the unicorns are going to be in range of you before you can even fire. Yeah, it's just a tough line. You can see those Shanklar right at the front there, right in the middle of the screen. They are all red morale. One unicorn shot, one shrapnel shot really would break that entire line. I think that's a grenadier push. Dan, come back. I think that's the grenadier push we've been waiting for. Dan. Dan, come back. I think that's the grenadier push. Yeah, I see it. I think suddenly all these French units starting to appear. I really hope we have reserves there. They need a second line of grenadiers. They need to bring their general up. I think their general's in there. Where's their general? Yes, their general is behind that. Good job from TFJ here. Those Sankular are breaking in the centre now. Dan! I'm just looking at those morales right now. British running reinforcements. Russian grenadiers need to move now. They really should have been moving already as soon as they saw the maneuvering grenadiers into that area. I honestly think this is it for the French. I don't think they have much else.
Our men are running, sir!
It's going to be difficult with the town. Can't really tell. But a lot of those grenadiers now on red morale. In fact, I can see some of them. That's a Sankular that's breaking. They're going to keep that morale up. Russian HQ is running there now. I can see the Russian HQ running to that position. Whereas the British HQ is on the left-hand side. He's pulling his HQ to the centre now. It looks like a big French break, but remember that's just going to be Sankular. Where is the grenadier breaking? There's a second grenadier breaking. You see the grenadiers are spent now. If they don't have that second line, they better have an elite there to back this up.
Our men are running, sir!
Come back quick. Down the mountains. Yeah, exactly. The British probably should fall back in face of overwhelming odds. They have to protect that shrapnel artillery piece. That shrapnel artillery piece better be shooting at their grenadier blob right now. Looking like several British units are breaking. I can see up to 4. Russia should be flanking. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely should be flanking right now. They can at least pull their dragoons. Pull their dragoons to the middle, Russia. That looks like a big French push on the left as well. Maybe.
Our men are running, sir!
Oh, I get a Discord message. Hope that's Dan. Well, I'm casting now, Chris, yeah, so... This is going to be interesting. Have the French control the town? I can't tell. Looks like the British have pulled reserves. Looks like the Russians have pulled reserves. Oh, we really need to put more in that gap. Both sides need to pull reserves to that gap now. The Russians still are moving on their side. Those 4 units need to pull. I don't care if the French have grenadiers on the left. They need to pull those to the middle. Looks like the French are preparing a grenadier charge on the left side though, so I mean... It's an interesting dilemma for the Russians. Where do you commit your reserve? I don't see any unicorn shots flying as well. Maybe that's just... I missed them. But... It's a dangerous game right now. Looks like the British are pushing the French in the middle as well. I wouldn't push the French in the middle right now. I'd concentrate. I think the British are winning on their left flank though. Looks like a lot of French units are breaking that side. Just from looking at the mini-map, we've got 3 British units broken up to the 5 or 6 French ones. Looks like the French have made a dent, but there seems to be some sort of reserve line holding that back. They need to concentrate. Yeah, you're right. Russians are finally moving something.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
The French, I think, are in control, but it's so difficult. Dan's back. Dan, we have a massive charge in the middle.
Hello, hello, hello. I am back.
We have a massive charge in the middle.
Oh, we do have a massive charge.
The French have launched their attack, and it's gone. I don't know. It's hard to tell them here. I've been like sort of commentating on the flags that are breaking. Oh, here we go. Much better positioning.
Wow, that is.
Here comes the unicorn, so we've got to be careful. Oh. Okay, thank goodness.
Okay.
The French square getting battered.
Yeah, it looks like the Russian unicorns are fired on that. Let me just very briefly intake what's happening here. Please don't tell me that's a crash. Oh, we might have a crash. I'm not sure.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
That feels like.
Wait, no, I don't think so. I don't.
No, this feels like a crash over here in the French.
Oh no! But there was a slight lag spike there. That looks like a running crash.
Because it looks like, unless I'm just misunderstanding this, but it does look like their units are kind of sprawling everywhere. Yeah.
No, just then. It was literally just then, because before the attack was quite tactical alt F. Or no, I don't think they did that.
No, I don't think
they were actually winning this.
Yeah.
They are currently controlling the points, so let's just see. We haven't heard it, the crash, have we?
The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest a while.
You want to pop in their pop in their BC?
I'll see if. Yeah, no, they did crash.
That sucks. Well, it's a good back. How close are we to the end?
I have no idea. Yeah, Chris is also saying it crashed. Yep, game crashed. It definitely crashed. That is a shame. Yeah, let me just intake what was going on this side at least. So it looks like the French were trying to press in on the British here. Ended up pulling all of the reserves to this side so they could help with this attempt at a breakthrough. I say attempt. Doesn't look like an attempt anymore to me. It looks like
they did it, yeah.
They have fully broken through and there is nothing to stop them. I mean, the question is going to be, are they going to continue this?
I think if the Russians don't manage to beat them on that side,
mean, you don't. I don't know, because the thing is, yes, we can argue like, oh, they've done a breakthrough here, but the breakthrough doesn't really matter if the Russians have these reserves, which were
our
very
men are running,
fortunate place for them.
The Russians had a lot of time to pull those reserves, to be honest, and they didn't do it. It's a little shame, really.
But
they were just waiting there, which is a bad move. They really should be pulling that way earlier.
Well, now there is a gap, and fundamentally, if you're looking at a battle and there is a gap in the front line, then you go, okay, well, this French side is obviously winning now. Well, other than the fact that they only have one player now, I would argue that yes, they did break through, and from what I saw, they broke through very well.
Yeah, it was
their units here are pretty weak, and they don't really have any units over here anymore. They had to pull most of them to this side.
It's a shame, because now there's nothing to replace them. The Sankey are too weak to hold off against these British gunfire. If there's like 10 minutes left, 20 minutes left, these British can push them on. They'll just do the French are too weak to charge them, I think. But the British would just
our men are running, sir!
So it really depends on what happens with the Russian player here.
Yeah, also, just as a thing to mention, the French messaged me to let me know that the cavalry the entire time has just been trapped in there. So they didn't actually
it's not ideal for them either.
Yeah, they didn't really have the use of their cavalry for most of this, and I imagine, obviously, like I said, I wasn't actually here for the charge, but I imagine if they had heavy cavalry for that charge, it would have made it probably a lot better for them.
Probably a proper difference. Yeah, I do agree with you completely. I thought it was a little bit of a really unfortunate incident for them. They have crashed though. I mean, they crashed, but they were winning, so I don't think it was like it's not ideal for them. But at least they managed to push through before they crashed. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Sorry about that. Dan, you see that?
Yeah.
What are you thinking then? What are you going to call?
I agree. I think it does deserve to be a rematch, not only because their cavalry got trapped in that building, which is really bullshit that happened to them, but also the fact that right as they finally make their move, once they think they've got the British attrited enough, you know, they've made their move, they punch through an area, they do it really well, and they're successful. The Russians don't actually react to it in time. Obviously, I'm hearing most of this from you, but if the Russians hadn't the Russians are now acting, but if the Russians hadn't acted in time, they'd punched through. They didn't even have their heavy cap because it was trapped in a building. You know, they've done all of this planning. It's finally paid off, and when it's paid off, one of their players has crashed, which it's so sad to see as well, because they're holding off so many Russian units, and they probably would have been able to help. Yeah, they're doing something. I definitely think this is deserving of a rematch, because there wasn't really a point in this where I thought the French were playing really badly, or I thought the British were playing really badly, and while I've always, for most of the battle, I was thinking, yes, the British definitely have the advantage right now, because they hold the 1 pointer. Like Coalition, yes, they hold the points. They're winning by LOC by definition. But they're winning by one LOC that is still contested. Like, it is owned by the British and Russians. Like, it is controlled by them. But it could very easily be taken away, and we've just seen why, because the French just did that. And
the men are
if we
fatigued,
look
sir,
at
and must
the
rest a
armies,
while.
The Russian army, other than the reserve that just got called over to fight this French breakthrough, literally do not have a reserve. So if that French army hadn't crashed, they would have outnumbered the Russians here, with not only the militia frontline, but they also would have had their grenadiers in the back that could have punched through too. They would have been able to hold off that French reserve corps from stopping the breakthrough. You know, it was like there's a lot of very noticeable things that have added up one after another that have worked out in a way that isn't fair for the French. Obviously, no disrespect to all to Gremo gang, you guys played really well. I just think that because both sides fought so well, I think this is grounds for a rematch. Because one player crashing. It was obvious as well, just in case anyone says, I know someone said it, probably it's a joke. It wouldn't have been a tactical of F4. Like, there's no way the French crashed there, because they were at 100% in the winning position against the coalition.
So you could say it's a rematch is beneficial for both sides in effect there.
Yeah, I think both.
Which is what you want it to be.
Yeah, you would hate it to be, oh well, one side is now one side's really well off because they needed that crash to be able to win the battle. No, I still think at this exact moment, I think both sides, until the crash happened, I think both sides had an equal opportunity to win the battle.
I still think coalition, but it just because of the amount of damage they did to the Russians, the French before they charged. I don't think their grenadiers are strong enough to hold it. But the problem is it doesn't matter because of the 6 units that's in that house.
Yeah.
Although what are they though? Are they just like
2 heavy cavalry, 2 grenadiers, which the grenadiers can leave it, but the main thing is the 2 heavy cavalry and a dragoon unit, which is pretty noticeable because they've lost 2 units. They lost 2 units of carabiners. I was saying that one of them's here. They lost 2 units of carabiners to
our men are running.
The worst part about losing 2 units of carabiners is their opponent didn't have any heavy cavalry and they have an army of grenadiers. I would challenge you saying that you think the coalition would win, because I honestly, I'm at the point where I don't know what side would have won. Like, I need to kind of rewatch the stream and see what actually happened. But from my POV at the moment, I think it entirely would have depended on the player that crashed, because this left side French army, right now the only thing that is clearing up this from being a disaster for the British is the fact that the Russians had a reserve corps that came in and fought them. Just as a fact, if the Russians didn't have a reserve corps, they would have probably pushed these guys flanked by the British and then shoved them towards this side of the battlefield. Then it would have been a question of, can this French army survive now that they're fish hooking the British?
Our men are running.
They would need to survive and beat the British and shove them this way. I mean, that's still a tall task. It's definitely a lot more possible if you've done a breakthrough. Also, it threatens the unicorns over here. Anyway, the reason why it all laid on this French player that crashed would be the only thing stopping that reserve corps from coming to that breakthrough was that French player. And so if that French player, if they'd seen that reserve corps coming, they would have just done a charge on these lines. And I mean, yeah, they've quit the game now. I mean, these Russian lines were weak. They were weak enough that, like, these 4 units here on my stream, they could have broken through that with grenadiers. If they'd charged that, they could have broken through that. And then the reserves that were coming to this breakthrough would have had to come here. And then it would have been a question of, would that reserve have won against these grenadiers?
Yeah, it's so what if, but yeah, I agree.
It's very what if.
It's looking like a... I just think the Russians had a lot more troops there than I thought, than I think the French anticipated, but it doesn't matter if they're out of position anyway.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate the
very
one game that really kind of went through it crashed in the last 10 minutes. That's it's really unfortunate, but that's just how the game goes. I mean, look at the British here though. 5,793 kills. Wow.
Well, I mean, I will say that even if we did not have a rematch, that it looks like the French do control that one.
Actually, no. Technically, I would argue that the French are winning by LOC.
No, I just couldn't see what the LOC was.
Yeah. Noticeably, though, one of the LOCs in the back line of the coalition had blown up. I've taken that into account, but the French were still there.
Right.
In that middle point. So I think the French were winning that by LOC, but the lines were so jutted because, I mean, technically their left flank didn't exist.
Yeah. A shame.
It is a real shame.
It is beneficial for both sides, though. If the crash side gets a rematch and the British get a rematch, because they were winning for most of the game.
I think that's the fairest decision we can really make. Obviously, it depends on, people are probably going to say, like, I would prefer. Like, I thought we were winning that battle, but I think it's easy enough for us to argue here. Like, I'm very happy with there being a rematch between the players. Oh, but apparently both of them crashed.
Both of the French?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So yeah, definitely. That's a shame. Maybe the British. No, the British didn't crash. I don't think the French crashed. Double crashed, did they?
No, I got a message from them
really?
saying both of them. I don't know if that was just at the end though. I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been just at the end because they didn't look like they crashed. Second one, but that's okay. Shame. I've got to pop off, Dan, unfortunately, but I'll let you carry on. I don't know what you're doing now, but
my problem is I have to go in like 10-20 minutes. Because I was hoping that this battle wouldn't crash. I know, crazy idea. We're gonna see. Well, the thing is with this whole crash and everything, anyway, we're gonna have to figure out, because obviously, one side could just say they don't want a rematch. They think they win it. It depends entirely on what the teams are saying, and I think that's gonna take a little bit of time for us to communicate, really.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see what the teams are thinking. Either way, I don't think I personally I don't have enough time to stream the next battle. So if they do fight another one, it's going to be a replay, or if they want to as well, I'm happy to stream the match if they give me a time that they're all happy with and I can do. So yeah, we're going to have to take a look at it. I think either way, we should probably jump into their VC and speech them for a second.
Yeah.
So let's do that. I'm just going to start dragging them all together.
Just put them into tone. Yeah, so
yeah, just put them into one VC. Right.
We would have had a win on the second match then, if that's.
Hello, guys.
That's how we counted.
I'm pretty sure the crash on the first crash match was like 15 minutes in. Nothing had been decided. This was like 50 minutes in.
Didn't we control more LOCs on the second too?
No.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Do it. The second? No.
No. I do think we did.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of pointless talk.
So what I'm gonna say is, either way, it was contested enough that me and Tom both think that it is deserving of a rematch, because it was at a moment in the battle, because both of you guys, both teams, y'all played really well. It was it was a great battle. You were very equal. Well, I say equal, I mean obviously when one side's army is militia, you're gonna slaughter a lot of them, but for that, you guys both played really well. It was a great battle, but I think the moment of the crash was at a moment where it was so important for the French to both be there, because so obviously France, you couldn't have seen the Russian reserves. We were watching from the coalition perspective, but from the coalition perspective, there wasn't a reserve corps of the Russians other than the reserve corps that went to clean up that kind of breakthrough. And so if the French player that had crashed hadn't crashed, they probably would have pressed that area. Obviously, it's a what if, but I think it's arguable enough that that was a very important moment in the French attack where they'd finally drained you guys a little bit enough, and then they moved the Grenadiers in. Plus, not to mention that house did claim like 3 units of cavalry. I would definitely argue it is grounds for a rematch. Obviously, you guys can contest that. You're welcome to do that. From what I remember at the end of the battle, when I did look at the map for a second, the French did still control that LOC on the far right of the French, far left of the coalition. They owned the house in the middle. I didn't have a moment to see what the French line looked like. Remembering though, it was an AI. It was a crash that caused that. So I'm not sure. Either way, I'm pretty sure actually.
I mean, if the AI won the game, I'll take it.
No. I was gonna say, I think the Russians. So the Russians had kind of hooked around the AI, if I remember. So you guys were kind
The
of
Russians
controlling.
have beaten the AI.
Yeah, they were controlling the 1-pointer to the back left of the map from the kind of French POV, so top right of the map. And because they had that, it meant that both teams were actually equal in points. I'm pretty sure.
So you're saying if the AI won, then it would count as your victory?
No, I whether or not. So I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the if the AI had won, by the way, first of all, I'd be ashamed of you. But second of all, I would still make the argument of it wasn't a player, so it wasn't fair. And it's also a really boring ending. But yeah, I think it was basically. I'm gonna have to recheck anyway, but I'm pretty sure it was equal points either way. And obviously the crash, I've explained why I think that. If you guys want to challenge it, feel free to. You're welcome to DM me. You're welcome to say it now. You're welcome to say it in the chat. Obviously, I don't recommend just say it in front of anybody because, people might be a bit upset if you are doing that for whatever reason. But you're welcome to DM me. You're welcome to give me your points. I'm willing to speak to either of you in a call if you want to. Personally, though, my opinion is we play a rematch.
Yeah, I mean the crash and the house swallowing like 5 of my teammates' units is kind of, I think, grounds for a.
There was so.
I want to add that was the entirety of my cav, 2 of them being elite heavy cav with inspire ability, and that was absolutely detrimental to any push I did.
Yeah.
Having the stuck there.
Oh, you should have raised that earlier, honestly. If you had.
I messaged Dan the moment it started happening.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
I admittedly I didn't see my DMs, but the thing is, even if I had seen my DMs, there wasn't anything I could do about it. Also, we did see it happen. I was watching them get swallowed.
I was just like, why has he got so many units in that house? Is he really holding that position, or is it something going on?
Something was going wrong. Something was going very wrong. Anyway, so like I said, this is really the farthest we can go. You guys are welcome to, if you agree with me, if you guys want to talk between yourselves as well, if you want to come to a decision. I mean, admittedly, I don't think a decision would come from you guys speaking to each other other than rematch, because realistically, each of you are just going to argue why you think you win. If you guys want a rematch, you're welcome to do that off camera. If you guys want me to stream it again, 100%, I am totally down for it. Just give me a time and I will schedule it. I'll see if I can do it. And then I'll stream it for you guys.
Understood.
Yeah, well,
I would want to argue one last thing. I think you should be streaming it. Like it is the last match. It is the deciding match, and the other competitors are still not to this bracket yet. So there isn't really damage in.
Yeah,
I guess drawing this out further.
That's why I'm very happy streaming it, because obviously you guys, you've made it really far in the tournament. Both teams, you guys have done great. Obviously, you want, if I'm streaming it, you can kind of watch the live reaction while you're doing it, and you can see the chat. Obviously, so I'm happy doing either. 100%. If you guys want me to stream it, I will stream it. Anyway, yeah, I am gonna head off. It was great to see you guys fight.
Yeah, good guys.
Very
good job,
well
guys.
fought from both sides. You should both be very proud of each other.
Yeah.
And hopefully we see a rematch soon, or maybe a decision will be made, but we'll have to see. But well played to everybody, and thank you to everybody in the stream that came along as well. I've not said that yet. Really appreciate everybody coming to the stream, checking it out, chatting, cheering for your teams is so important as well. TFG or Gremo gang, cheering for them is great. So thank you all for coming, and I guess this is goodbye.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye bye.
Thank you for your time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.